not so long ago, there was the 20th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. And the Western media went wild. How the Berlin Wall came down, how authoritarianism came down, how a divided nation was united. But Korea continues to be denied that same unity which the Germans have achieved now. If you're really concerned about divisions, it's time the American troops were removed from the Korean Peninsula and the wall that divides North and South Korea was pulled down. In the fashion of Ronald Reagan, I call upon the American President Barack Obama, Mr. Obama, tear down the wall that divides North and South Korea. Then we have the Vietnamese comrade here among us. Vietnam has a special place in our hearts, especially in mine. I was a young man. A lot of people, my children and my young comrades, think I was always old. No, I was young sometimes. When I was growing, the Vietnam War was at its height. And it was a joy to wake every morning and read about the latest victory of the Vietnamese people in that predatory war that US is doing. When President Johnson, desperate because the American forces and their puppets were losing in the southern part of the country, started the bombing of North Vietnam and of its capital, Hanoi. At the height of that war, the legendary leader of the Vietnamese people, Comrade Ho Chi Minh, said this: "The war may last 10, 20 years or longer. Hanoi, Haiphong, and other cities and enterprises may be destroyed, but the Vietnamese people will not be intimidated. Nothing is more precious than independence and freedom. When Victory Day comes, our people will rebuild our country and endow it with bigger and more beautiful construction." Although still suffering the after effects of that barbaric war, in which 3 to 4 million Vietnamese people were murdered by US imperialism, the Vietnamese comrades are building their country anew and endowing it with beautiful construction, and we congratulate them. And I welcome the Vietnamese embassy representative here. You're very welcome. You're among friends. We have also representatives of the Xinhua News Agency, New China News Agency. It's very important for the progressive and socialist forces to have their own press. No doubt you're waiting with bated breath that tomorrow morning all the Sunday papers will report our meeting and this dinner. I hope you will be rewarded with some satisfaction. But, you know, the imperialist press is a prostitute press. It does not give a damn about truth. What it does is, imperialist press is owned by the press barons, the monopoly capitalists. Nothing that they do not want ever gets published. The BBC is supposed to be the champion of truth, impartiality, and dispassionate reporting. Nothing could be further from the truth. The BBC anchor men and women are nothing but cheerleaders for British imperialism, and they're as much warmongers and war criminals as were Hitler's journalists. That's what they do. There's a very well-known saying which expresses, it's really a kind of, I'm not sure if it's a doggerel. You cannot hope to bribe or twist, thank God, an English journalist. But saying what unbribed he'll do, there really is no film. Bribery, of course, comes in several forms. It is, here's the money, Jeremy Paxman, will you do this? Or there is, you simply pay them between £500,000 to £1 million. They know exactly where their bread is buttered, and they do exactly what is required of them. And they are nothing but criminals calling themselves journalists. At a time when Anglo-American imperialism has murdered over 1 million Iraqis, over 1 million Afghanis, and they're complicit in the crimes of Zionism against the Palestinian, Lebanese, and other people. For them to be talking about human rights violations in China, in Darfur, in Cuba, etc., is nothing short of gross indecency. That's what it is. And it is in this context that we welcome the representatives of the Xinhua News Agency. I'm not pleading with you, comrades, that you report this function in your press. It is too insignificant a function to be reported. But there are other things that we are involved in. We very much hope that you will be able to give airing to that, because through you, 1.3 billion Chinese come to know of it, and through syndicated journalism, lots of people around the world come to know it. We have got to learn to break through the blockade of news that imperialism imposes on us, and we need your help in it, and that you must do. We were supposed to have a representative from the Cuban embassy. I'm sorry, I apologize. We were supposed to have a representative from the Cuban embassy, but he has rung up that it would not be possible for him. Cuban embassy is very highly understaffed. And when they have some important thing comes that they have to attend to, they simply have to do that. So we understand that. But they may not be present bodily. They are in spirit present, and they've sent us good wishes. And we are very pleased to have connections with them, because Cuba is a country that has taken the flames of the October Revolution to Latin America, and slowly but surely that flame is spreading through progressive regimes in Bolivia, in Nicaragua, in Salvador, in Ecuador, and
Venezuela.
And Venezuela. And it's good. There was a time when nothing moved in Latin America without the permission of the American president. Those days are gone. No country can now.